Welcome to the Spinwhiz Comics Show.
Whoa.
From Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us for exclusive interviews with the publishers bringing you the newest titles in indie comics, webcomics, movies, and more.
No way.
And now, here's your host, Jeff Palumbo.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the Spinwhiz Comics Show. If you're on YouTube, this is going to be a part 2. A different thing. We had just interviewed Allison. Now we're going on to Paul. For those of you that are just joining us, we are bringing on Paul Farris, who I have actually known now for, I'll ask him, but I think it's almost 2 years that we've actually been chatting back and forth. And just because he's done all sorts of cool stuff. And then Canada Bear came out, and he was working on that for a while. Now he's got an Indiegogo. Now he's going to be huge and blow up and not talk to me anymore when he's like super popular. But until then, I'm interviewing him. And you could say you saw it here. So I'm going to bring him in just because I don't want to talk about too much. Let's bring our boy in. There he is. Oh, of course, that doesn't look as good as it did. Now it looks good. There's Paul's sexiness in all its glory. Paul, welcome. Welcome to the stream. How you doing, buddy? Good. So I gave you a little shout out in the beginning. Obviously, Canada Bear is awesome. It's really fun. We're going to get to that in a second. I think one I usually go into when talking to people is a lot of people that are looking at the show are not necessarily professional yet, or maybe sometimes they are, but you're kind of a man of all the trades of comics. I know that writing isn't really your thing, but when it comes to pencils, design, inks, lettering, coloring, you kind of like span the gambit of what can be done. How the heck did you start?
My background actually started in animation, actually. And that's when I got big into character design and everything.
Wow. So, wait, did you go to school for this or not?
Yeah, I attended Edinburgh University.
Okay.
It's in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
I haven't. I've been to a place in Scotland that sounds like that, where they had fantastic scotch. But
which is actually kind of funny, where the mascot is the Fighting Scots.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've been now. Are you just having been drawing for 3 years, or is it?
Oh no, I've been drawing since. Are you talking about just in comics or just drawing?
Just for comics, yeah.
Yeah, just in comics for 3 years. It was an easier transition because I did a lot of storyboard work, so sequential art was actually, I was pretty used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always wanted to bring, because Canada Bear, a little history of Canada Bear, I actually created those characters about 11 years ago.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, my sophomore year of college, and there was actually an animated short I did with them for my senior thesis, which is actually on YouTube too. And then my friend Sean, who's actually the writer, he came up to me. He's like, "I think this would be a great all ages comic book idea." So we teamed up. I mean, I've known him forever. We actually always talked about making comics since we were 13, 14 years old. And then, I don't know, 12 years later, we're in our 30s, we decided to bring this comic to life.
That's amazing. So when you got out of school, you went into, was it the agency route where they would hire you for storyboards and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, I did a lot of freelance work. Some studios in California. I did a relocation to Nashville, Tennessee, where I did work for a studio named Magnetic Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for a while. They're known for, I personally didn't do work on Sesame Street, but they did a lot of work for them. So.
Holy cow.
And Nickelodeon would do contract work and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So
yeah,
what made you finally be like, screw it, let's do it?
Well, like I said, my friend Sean and I always wanted to make a comic, so Canada Bear was a great stepping stone to get into there. And it's actually a lot easier than making an animated cartoon like all the time. So it's less time consuming, and I don't know. There's a lot easier way to get Canada Bear out there as well on a different platform.
So do you want to tell us about, first of all, you're not Canadian.
My family's from Canada, actually.
Okay, so that's your little tie into the Canada Bear.
Yes.
But can you tell, for people that haven't read part 1, but before we do that, let me link part 1 that's over there. I want people to see this stellarness that is Canada Bear. We have Canada Bear Special Edition number 1.
Mm-hmm.
That has been updated. There you go, guys. And again, if you are on... you're in Twitch live, obviously it's in chat, but if you're in YouTube, don't sweat it. It's not gone. It's right below. Just the link is literally right below us. And then if you are on podcast, just look in the transcription. I got them all there. We want you to read it. Paul wants you to read it too. That's literally why we're here.
Yes.
So go read it. Support indie comics, especially these guys. So tell us a little bit about how Canada Bear kind of came about.
Well, obviously we know that Canada has some superheroes based in Canada, right? He's from Canada, Captain Canuck. Funny thing is, I was actually, I always wanted to create a superhero that was based in Canada. And I was actually playing a old PC game. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Age of Mythology.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So there was this cheat code where this little sprite of a bear, right? And it was indestructible, and it shot lasers out of its eyes and everything. And I was like, you know what, that'd be a sweet idea for a superhero based in Canada, because Canada's known for what? Moose, bears, and geese.
Lots of snow.
And lots of snow. So, and being in animation, I always had a weird sense of humor, so I thought that'd be a nice funny comic too.
So have you ever thought about actually animating it?
The comic, yeah, that's crossed my mind. Like I said, my senior thesis, there is an animated short on Canada Bear.
Can you share it? I mean, not right now, but later, and I'll link it.
Yeah, I would love to, actually.
Yeah, please do. I can't wait.
It's actually my friend Matt, who actually helped on the special edition. He went to Edinburgh as well, and we teamed up on the animated short back in 2011.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So I can't wait, because I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's in the short. It just introduces the character and the villain that I love. My favorite one that I created is the salmon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit. Except we want them to read it, but again, what is Canada Bear kind of about, and what does volume 2 kind of get into? Now, I don't want you to give away too much, because we want them to obviously, hook you up, read it, and then jump into the Indiegogo campaign. But what do you want to tell them about it, just to kind of give them oh damn, I need to read this thing?
Well, I'll give a short synopsis of the first volume. Okay, so basically, how Canada Bear became Canada Bear. It started off between the Canadian Swiss Cold War. So the idea behind that was two very friendly countries that we think of today that are actually at war, and Canada wanted to end the war between the Swiss, so they created a bomb called the Canuck, which is Canuck. So, but what happens is that the Canadian Air Force is actually a flight of geese, right? Mm-hmm. So they actually fly in, and they forget that it's hunting season, and they get shot down. And before Canada Bear became the superhero bear that he is today, he actually was a Canadian zoo bear. So while the birds got shot down, the bomb fell by the zoo, and that he gained his powers through nuclear explosion. And then in volume 1, you explore that. You're introduced to the villain Bear Trap, which is kind of like a Bizarro Canada Bear, but leave that up to interpretation. But and then you're introduced to the salmon a little bit more in depth, like his origin story. Volume 2 is the return of Bear Trap.
Yeah.
and his like on Canada Bear.
Fantastic.
So and volume 2 is issues 4 through 6.
Okay. Awesome. So let me drop that also in the chat so that you guys can check out the Indiegogo campaign, because that is what we're here for, and it's going to be great. How long is the campaign running for?
It was up there for 60 days. I think it has 30 days left now.
Okay. So you got some time. So even after this is on YouTube, which will probably be this weekend, there's still plenty of time to help Paul out. So go check it out for sure. Now, let's get into a little bit more about like day-to-day life, because you're an animator full-time now, right?
No, I actually work for Amazon now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, full-time there. Got an assistant management position, but I actually do freelance as well. But I work on the comic, I guess, is my second full-time job.
So you have 3 jobs.
Technically, yeah.
Holy crap. All right, I thought I was busy with 2 jobs, but that's nothing like you have. So how do you find the time? Because you and I spoke a little bit, and you did the pencils and inks for the first volume.
Yeah.
But the second volume, you did all of it, right? Except for the writing?
I'm doing all of it, in the process, yeah. So actually, the first volume, I did the pencils for issues 1 and 2. And I had help, because it takes more than one person to make a comic.
Oh, yeah,
especially
for sure.
Busy. My friends, I've actually met on Facebook through like a comic group. Carlos and Lafayette Acevedo, they helped with inks on the second and third one. But volume 2 is going to be all me. And then Lafayette might help with like layout, just to get the pages right.
And who's writing the whole thing?
Sean Wilson.
Okay.
Sean Wilson's writing the whole thing. He's wrote, because the whole arc is 10 issues long, and he's written all of them.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you not only do you have it outlined, you have it done. Like, is 1 through 10 done?
Yeah. It's
Holy cow.
It's not drawn.
Right, but written.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, normally people kind of write a little bit, draw a little bit, write a little bit, draw a little bit. But you actually, Sean has gone ahead and actually like finished the whole arc.
You have to. Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to, but oh my gosh, holy ton of work. Now is he a writer normally?
I know he had a passion for writing always. This is the first comic book that I've known that he has written for.
Okay.
But he's always been into writing, because I known him since we were kids.
Right.
So.
That's awesome. So, how do you find time between your freelancing and I don't mean, let me rephrase. Instead of finding time, because that's difficult, because most of the guys like us or girls, we usually have full-time jobs, and then comics are kind of our passion. We enjoy it. It's, Spinwhiz Comics is not necessarily making me any money, but it's fun to do, and I love helping all these, indie publishers, indie studios get a little more notice. It's just something I enjoy doing, and hopefully we'll all make money someday in the future, and hopefully near future. But until then, like, how do you find that you are keeping... forget the day job necessarily, but how do you not interfere with kind of getting rid of that love? Like, you feel like the comic is a job. How do you do you have to sometimes take breaks and be like, I need to not touch it for a week? Yeah,
there's times where, and other artists can notice that, like, sometimes, like, some days nothing's going right, right? So, like, what I do, like, I try not to take a whole week break. But if I am that frustrated, what I do, I try to remind myself why I do this. So I'll read like other comics that I enjoyed, try to get inspired. I will talk to my friends who are actually in the business, see what they're working on, try to get inspired. Like, I have friends that have worked on South Park.
Oh my gosh.
The new Rocco's Modern Life short that came on Netflix. One of my good friends actually did all the storyboards for that. And another friend of mine works for Joe Murray as well. So I like talk to them, like I'll show them my work, and they'll kind of help me and like get critiques and stuff like that. But that's what I do. So
Holy cow. Yeah, I don't have anybody like that. I work
I guess I'm lucky in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with me, if I want to talk comics, luckily I have guys like you, right? I could ping you at any point in time and be like, hey, I got an idea, I want to pass by you. And you're not going to say no. You're going to be like, dude, hook me up. In that aspect, I've got a lot of great talent like yourself that is very open and very helpful. But from a business side of things, I'm really doing something that nobody else has really tried. Like, obviously, Comixology has a little bit, Graphite has a little bit, Webtoons, all that stuff. But the combination of what we have going, nobody else is doing, and I literally have nobody to talk to. So it is sometimes difficult to keep my day job, which is draining, and not in a bad way. I love my day job. I currently work for Lenovo, and I really enjoy it. But
that's awesome.
Sometimes when I get home, I'm drained. Like, I am just brain dead. But I know that I have to get stuff up because there's people relying on me to try to help them get their content out. And do you find that that because of that, sometimes bits and pieces of the joy some nights are gone where you're just like, oh shit, I got to get through this. Like, I have to. Yeah,
I hear you on that, because like I told you, I work for Amazon full time, and sometimes those are 10 to 12 hour days. And luckily I do that all in 4 days. So I do get like 3 days off from the day job. So I do have a little bit of time, but I am drained during those 4 days of the week. Like, to answer your question, I don't know. I just basically, on my days off, I work on the comic.
Yeah, and I was wondering if you had to push through some days like me, where you're just like, oh god.
Yeah.
And then other days you're like, yes, like this is great. I can't wait to get back to it, and you're just crushing it.
Yeah, like especially if we have to get it sent to the printers for like an upcoming convention that we're going to. So that can take up to, depending on who you go with, that can take 3 to 4 weeks before you get your stuff in the mail. Those are days where I have to really push to meet deadlines.
Yeah, and you specifically have. I mean, my deadlines are usually a daily deadline of promotion and content, and I have meetings as well at night because I can't do it during the day because I'm working. So yeah, I completely get you. So right there, because it's tough to keep going. I think a lot of the people we speak to, they have the same thing where 99% of the time they're pumped to do what they want because their day job is their day job. They get home and they want to work on something that's creative or innovative or something like that. But then there's that one time where you're just like, I just want to go to bed, but I can't. Or I want to watch, we were talking about Umbrella Academy and the other interview, and you just want to binge watch that for 4 hours.
That's
you're
a good show.
Show. Amazing.
Like, to add on to the thing about what helps me get more energy during the day, like, during the work hours, I always think about what I'm going to work on when I get home. Throughout the whole day, I try to inspire myself the whole day. Like, I think of new stories, new ways I'm going to draw this page, what color approaches I'm going to go, constantly. Like, it's like I have 2 brains going, That's what I do. I try to stay inspired the whole day, but like, I am human. I get tired, and there are days where I'm just like, I have Netflix on my phone. I'm just going to lay down, watch Umbrella Academy or whatnot,
Well, you got to let your brain recharge too, because creativity can only last for so long.
That is true.
And my biggest thing with Spinwhiz is I'm worried about it taking off to an extent. I mean, I'm not that worried about it. I really want it to take off. And having it be my full-time job eventually because I enjoy it so much, I'm worried that I won't enjoy it anymore.
Because you're burnt out. Yeah,
and then your creative outlet and the stuff that you find is really fun becomes a work, and then you're just like, well, I don't want to. I'm not that worried about it. Trust me. If we're making money hand over fist, I will get over that. But at the same time, I wonder, and I've asked multiple content creators that too, like, what happens if your comic takes off and you're doing it full time? And a lot of them are like, I don't know if I want it to go full. I don't know if I want it to go full time. They like the hustle at the shows because they get out of the house, they get to meet really cool people. But at the end of the day, they're not reliant on that money coming in to make their life. They have full-time jobs, they have kids, stuff like that, and they like doing that. Are you sort of the same way? Like, would you like to see Canada Bear just skyrocket and you could do that full-time? Or you're like, you know what, maybe not 3 jobs, but maybe...
Yeah. I would like, yes, I would like to see it go off, but I would hope that more than just a comic would come out of it, because the whole point of Canada Bear was to get like that Saturday morning cartoon feel and like that approach where it could become an animated series. So like if it had more than one outlet, like comics, a show, more out, like merchandise, I don't know, and money was more guaranteed.
Yep.
Yeah. But if it was just a comic, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, because we all have bills, we have, lives to take care of, and but yes, I would love it to be picked up by like a major publisher, like to get some more money out of it.
Sure.
But seeing it as a full-time job, just as a comic,
might drain you real quick.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun, not a fun thing, but it's a good question to ask, and I ask myself that all the time. I'm willing to take the chance, but I have Chimera, and I haven't worked on that in 5 years.
Oh wow!
Because a little hiatus, but that's because I've been so busy with Spinwhiz Comics that I haven't.
Something so.
Yeah, and I do want to get. I mean, I have 1 through 20 are outlined, and 1 and 2 and 19 and 20 are all written. So I actually have the beginning and the end completely written, and I have to say 19 is badass. Like if I can get that done, there are only 10 words in the entire 22 comic page, and 22 pages is only 10 words.
Only 10 words.
Yeah.
So it's all like full page spreads and everything, or just
I can't even I don't want to spoil it, even if it's going to take me 10 more years to get there. Like it's so crazy, it's so oddly done. And I did pass it by a couple people because I have mentors that are that are not competitors or anything like that, and either they're like they have their masters in writing or something, or they have cinematography experience or whatever, and I ping ideas off them, and I told them about 19 and 20, and they're like, it might be the greatest ending I've ever heard of. And I'm like, whoa, that's...
Then you have to do it, Jeff. You got to make it, man.
I might just release 19 and 20 and say, forget the rest of the book. It's just going to be the end. Like, I'll do fan fiction. What's that?
No one needs to know that it's number 19 and 20. It can just be... You can combine it and say it's a one-shot.
That's true.
Right?
That's true,
and
but it literally is at the end. Like, it ties everything together. So people are gonna be really lost. So getting back to you,
yes.
What type of genres and things do you like to read, write, or watch outside of Canada Bear? Because obviously Canada Bear is superhero. Do you have an affinity for superhero, or is that just like, hey, because you kind of already told the origin story, so I see why he is a superhero. But do you have you grown up reading, Batman, Superman, like a lot of us, and you have that genre built into you? Or is it like, no, I actually love horror movies. It just happens that I enjoy this one line.
Okay. Actually, horror is actually like my favorite genre, actually.
We did not talk about this, folks. This was not a plan.
It's not a plan. Comedy is second, and I mean, I love superheroes. I mean, I grew up with them. My brother actually used to draw comics for fun. He always had like those how to draw Marvel books, and So I've always been around that genre. But horror is definitely my favorite, like, genre, all of it. Like, I would love to do a horror comic. But for, like, Canada Bear, I just want to make something a little bit different, something that's, like, not a serious superhero, right? It's funny. It's for all ages, but like, adults can enjoy it too. I mean, that was the whole goal of that. But yeah, horror, definitely.
I think
this is like my favorite time.
I think Canada Bear could easily fit into Netflix, to be honest with you.
Oh, thank you.
I think if you took your thesis and well, I haven't seen it yet, but gave them a little short or like a pilot of what it would look like and pitched that with your 2 volumes, I think that Hulu or Netflix would pick it up under their kids section.
Yeah, it's definitely written for that. And one of the main reasons why, I mean, that I've continued on this, my friend Ben, who works for Joe Murray, who created Rocko's Modern Life. He said this was like a gold mine. So it's like always been like a thing that keep working on it, and maybe it will pay off in the end. So it is really nice to hear that. Thank you. It actually got me inspired to grab everything and like send it to Netflix.
You should. And I actually have we're creating a partnership at Spinwhiz, which will allow any partner. I won't get in all the details. We're going to be working it out in the next couple of weeks, which is basically like a company that will pitch your content for you. They take a small charge and they act as your agent for 3 titles, and they keep pitching it until you say stop.
Wow, they
show it around.
That's a good service.
They show it around everywhere. So I'm talking to the CEO next week, and then if we can work something out where it's a special deal for Spinwhiz partners, then I'll be offering it to everybody. And obviously there's a charge to it because they have to make money too. Yeah. But if once you hear the charge and how much they charge, you're gonna be like, that's it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like, just tell me what you need, Jeff, if this goes through. So.
Yeah, buddy.
That's some good news.
Put me as an asterisk at the bottom.
Yes.
That's it. That's all I ask. So a little bit more, because it's getting late, and you have to go to work. I have to go to work. And I get it.
You have to go to work.
Oh, is tomorrow one of your days off?
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
You lucky bit. I mean, congratulations. That's what I meant. What are some of this is just, so let's get off comics for just a minute and talk more about just you in general and, kind of what you like. Are you looking forward, well, let me rewind. Any of the movies that you have seen lately that have triggered conceptions of what you would like to see in a comic or you'd like to do a comic of? Because I have one, and I'll share after you're done. Like, you're like, damn, I'd like to make a comic like this. And it could be an old movie, too. It doesn't have to be a new movie, just something you've seen recently. Mine just happens to be, well, I guess mine's like 9 years old.
Mine? Okay. Like, I like horror, and I like suspense, and I like crime as well. And there was a movie, I would like to make a comic of. It's actually a true story. Have you heard of the movie To Kill an Irishman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. So.
Yep. I saw your posts about the Browns this past week on Facebook.
We'll be on for an hour if you get me talking about the Browns. So, but it's a true story about a mobster named Danny Green, and I thought that would make a great comic.
Mm-hmm. That would be badass.
And I just love, like, true stories like that. I mean, like, what was that book? The Jack the Ripper adaptation, From Hell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like books like that. And I was actually listening to a podcast on iHeartRadio called Monster: The Zodiac Killer. I think that, like, an adaptation of that would be a great graphic novel.
Oh,
as
yeah.
Well.
Yeah, and the best thing is you don't,
like, unsolved murders, like, true. I mean, like the Cleveland Torso murders, things like that. Be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you could do a whole bunch of short stories just about that and wrap them into an anthology.
Exactly.
If you had the time, that's badass. I think what I really, and I love that idea. I have trouble finding like really cool stories to turn into comics. But the one I would like to do that is amazingly enough actually matches what I wrote in college is like a John Wick-esque. So if John Wick met Expendables, met X-Men.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was and this is not to be shared except for everywhere on YouTube and whatever, but I was I came back from drinking one night in college, as most of us do. I was of age. Let's say that. I was actually of age. And in Oswego, New York, it is wicked cold. So you have to drink a lot in order to stay warm. So I came home, I think it was like 2:30 in the morning, and I was, I had a couple drinks at the bar. And I just start typing out this what now, as I had forgotten about it for years and years until I saw John Wick 3. And I'm like, and one of the scenes in it was like, holy crap, that is literally what I wrote like 20 years ago. And it almost made me pick my pencil back up and go find it. Because it's actually not even typed out. It's actually handwritten. Wow. Just because I think my printer was broken or something. I don't know, whatever it was. But
when I handwrite, I do better. Like I feel like creativity comes out better that way.
Yeah, my mind starts to wander when I type.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and sometimes it doesn't, like there's too much garbage in it. But I think when I take my time because it's writing and my hand starts to hurt, that I really want to get only like the core pieces of it out, that I find that I write a better, out of the 22 pages of a comic, I might actually write a really good 6-page draft or I'll write a really good 3-page novel draft that I can then pull out into a 22-page scripting.
Yeah.
So it is entirely possible that really what just I need to do is find that content and get rip-roaring drunk one night and just start writing again. And
I know about that cold, man. Like Edinburgh's rate is only 15 minutes south of Erie, PA.
Oh yeah, it's cold as hell there too.
Oh yeah, like wind chill that would just freeze your bones. And oh yeah, I drink plenty to stay warm.
Yeah, I have a buddy that lives in Erie right now, and he's just like, holy crap, is it cold? And, so a lot of people, and I'll explain this. So a lot of people that aren't used to the upper northeast, you have, and I'll just give out general areas because they're more likely to be known. So you have Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, and Erie, PA. And for whatever reason, God hath strucketh a massive 9-month cold break in each of those cities that you either A, have to be completely hammered 90% of the time just so your body temperature can take the heat or take the cold, or you walk around borderline Eskimo for like 6 months out of the year. And I don't think, if you're from upstate New York, obviously feel free to leave a message below and say hi to Paul. And if you're a Syracuse, I actually just happen to be wearing a Syracuse shirt tonight. But people don't understand that the wind, I guess the only other people that may understand are like the Michigan people. Yeah. Because the wind just, and maybe Chicago, Illinois, I bet you Chicago. And obviously the open plains get a whole different kind of wind. But
Toledo gets pretty bad.
But coming off that lake, the wind that comes off it, or the lake effect snow that just keeps spinning and just keeps dumping on you, and then the wind comes through and basically just turns your whole face to frickin' ice. You have to go up there and experience it just to be like, why the hell would anybody live here?
Yeah,
it's awful.
I told him I grew up in the Cleveland area my whole life, and like after every winter I go, this is my last one, and I'm now 32 years old, and I'm going, oh, I don't think I'm ever moving.
You're stuck.
Yeah, I'm stuck.
Scott TV says East Side Cleveland represent. So he's in our chat right now, ripping it up. So, all right. Well, we've already been chatting for like 40 minutes. Let's. Is there anything else we should know that viewers should potentially know about Canada Bear? It is fun. Again, going back to what you said, reading it, you'll read it, and I think there is a lot for kids. So it's kid safe. So one of the things that you want to look at is the fact that it's one of the comics that's on Spinwhiz that's actually all ages. But adults will enjoy it as well. So if you have kids that you want to get into comics, Canada Bear is actually fantastic to start your kids on. Volume 1 is free on Spinwhiz Comics right now. And then obviously if you love it, go support Paul and the S&P Comics crew so that he can actually do more of this cool stuff, and it'll re-energize him for the next volume. And will the next volume be 7, 8, 9, 10? Will you finish it?
It's 4 through 6, and 4 I am 90% done with 4.
Oh, okay.
I finished the 19th page today, so almost done. I did 3 pages today. I spent like 9 hours working on it. So.
Oh my gosh. Good Lord. Well, you are the man.
Well, it's also that animation style, so it's a little faster to make too.
Mm-hmm. And this is nothing to do with Canada. I mean, it is something to do with Canada Bear, but
sure.
When you draw, do you draw old school or using a Wacom tablet and putting it into something where you can get layers? Are you already building it in layers in case you want to animate it?
I do use a Wacom in Tuos in Sketchbook Pro. I would love to go the old traditional route, but this is error-free, unlimited mistakes.
A million times faster.
And a million times faster and cheaper. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I used to do everything traditionally. Like when I learned animation, it was all on paper. So
when you build that out, are you building it into layers? Like you have your background environment, and then I mean, I figured having an animation background, you would. Yeah, each page has about 130 layers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I can bring, like you won't be able to see it, but I'll count one that's finished. Yeah, this one here, page 24, has 134 layers.
Holy cow.
And most of those are colors.
That's awesome.
Yep, and that's without the lettering. So you can put lettering and everything in.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I wish more people would. I understand why people, when they have a Photoshop document, or they'd use it in Sketchbook or whatever it might be, I understand when they port it over, they flatten it so you can print it, right? But
yeah,
I'm starting to talk to publishers and saying, listen, if you have that PSD or whatever document it is that allows me to see the layers, that I want to start finding a way to use that as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just the Photoshop or the PDF, that we might be able to do something cool with the layers. I don't know what that is yet, but I figure, because animation is so becoming so available, and so is augmented and virtual reality, those that are building in layers are going to be a million times ahead everybody that's using just flat. And it's it is what it is. Those that are just drawing old school, great that you draw old school, but if you want to transcend to that next piece, it's going to take you 10 times longer.
That is true.
So you're already ahead of the curve, man. I mean, Netflix wants it now.
Netflix wants it now.
Go send it all.
Send it all.
So in closing, anything else you want to tell the crew? It's going to be a bunch of places. We have hooked you up. You have another, how many more days do you have? Another 30?
About 30 days. We got a month left on the Indiegogo.
Okay.
And that's for Volume 2, which is issues 4 through 6. We have a lot of great rewards. Volume 1 is available as well for sale on our website. And, yeah, That's all I got to say.
Yep. And just so you guys know, if you do buy it on Spinwhiz Comics, the PDF to help Paul out, 70% goes right back to him. So unlike the other companies that we're like, we need to charge you for this and that and all this other crap, we take the check at the end of the month when you buy something from Paul, and we just 70%, and it's right back over to Paul. So remember that if you want to keep. Obviously, there are some really great things in the Kickstarter. I would suggest going there because there's stuff you cannot get on Spinwhiz that he can wrap in the Indiegogo campaign. But if you want it immediately and you want to help out and then go to Kickstarter, obviously buy it from one of our sites so he can start making some of that cash. Other than that, man, I appreciate you coming on. I know it's late and you did awesome. I know we've been going back and forth. And I opened up with telling everybody that we've probably known each other for almost 2 years now, of just kind of talking back and forth. Before Canada Bear even came on, I was a fan of Canada Bear, and it just happened that I finally launched my platform, and you're like, oh dude, this looks great now, can you help me? I'm like, yeah, of course I can. So but we met on Instagram, I think. Yeah, like almost 2 years ago.
Started talking Instagram. Yeah.
So obviously friendships start that way, and hopefully I can help you even more in the near future. If I sign this deal and get it all started, I will send it to you so they can pitch your stuff for you if you like it, if you like that deal. And,
you have me pumped.
So. And I would love to see Canada Bear on the top of Netflix in the next 6 months to a year. Just waiting.
I think it would do great.
I think it would too. Especially animated.
Oh yeah, it has to be animated, and not. It could be 3D animated, but it has to have a really certain style to it.
Yes, I agree.
It almost have to be Pixar-esque for it to work. But 2D animated would be awesome.
Yes, yeah, it sure would be. But anyway, for those of you that are there, check out below. I got all the links if you're watching on YouTube again and the podcast. Check the transcript. Everybody else, check the Twitch stream. It's all in there. This YouTube video, if you're watching it, it'll be up, about 4 days after we finish this on Twitch, which is on the 16th. So go visit the Indiegogo campaign. Go hang out. Follow him on social media. Give the boy your love. And that's it. So, Paul, it's been awesome. Why don't you hang with me just for a minute so I can say goodbye to you? Everybody else, hang out for just a couple minutes. I'll be right back. I want to send Paul off with a smile. Nothing weird. There's nothing weird. Stop thinking about weird stuff, you freaks. And I'll be right back.